Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience and those tuning in online. We're glad you all could be with us as well. We're excited to welcome for the first time to our program actress Celeste M. Cooper. We're going to talk to Celeste not only about her acting journey, but also what it's been like for her to do what she loves when it comes to television and film. She's the star of a brand new film coming out in September called Range Runners. We'll talk to her about that, as well as, of course, let you guys know how to stay connected with her online as she's kind of going throughout the rest of this year. Celeste, thank you so much for the time today. Really appreciate it.
Oh, my gosh, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. This is awesome.
Pleasure's definitely all mine. We're going to get into Range Runners a little bit later, Celeste, but I want to begin because you do have some bright spots for 2020. 2020 has been a kind of a crazy year for a lot of people, but here you have this film getting ready to come out, right? So that's a positive. Yeah. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this experience, Celeste. What has it been like for you to get to this point where you've been able to not only do what you love, but also to have your skills recognized?
Oh wow! I'm so incredibly grateful, and I think when you just work and then you're just like, okay, like I spent a lot of my career, like I started performing professionally in 2012, and it's just like, oh man, I'm doing this work. Like, does anyone notice? Like, and so like, it's just so, you do it year after year, and there's so many rejections, but there's also these beautiful opportunities, and it's so wonderful. So when this project came along, and I was overjoyed, and I'm still overjoyed that the fact that I led this film and played a role that I actually isn't really me.
Yeah.
Like I really had to transform into this person, and I feel like I did it really well, so it makes me really proud and grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah. One of the interesting things, and I shared with you before we went on here, is I had a chance to watch the film, so we'll be talking about some of the themes definitely from it. But I did think, as I was kind of prepping for this segment with you, Celeste, I thought about the connections, though, that kind of fit your journey, because I think, one thing that your career shows, as you just alluded to in this film shows, is that life is definitely a marathon and not a sprint, right? It definitely is a journey.
Yeah.
What has that part been like for you to recognize that this, if you were going to do this, like you said, even over the past 8 years, that it was going to take the time and it was going to take the work and the effort?
Oh, yeah. I learned early on, just thinking about being an actor, period, that you can't actually, you have to stay in your own lane. And as an actor, because we're all going to, we graduate with our classmates, and some people have this direction, other people have this direction, or it might be really hot for somebody and it's not that great for someone else. But it's a seasonal thing. Like, you're up, you're down, it's all that. And so you really have to allow yourself to have a positive mindset. Like, for me, spiritual grounding, maintaining my connection with God, and maintaining my self-care has been extremely important, when you will always get more rejections than you actually get wins. For me, like, I've been blessed with a really, awesome career, I would say, in terms of different opportunities, but people don't see the rejections. They don't see the things that I got really close to that I didn't get. And even for myself growing up, I actually ran track. I was a sprinter, though, but, like, I actually ran track since I was, 7 until I was 18 years old. So, like, the idea of, and I never loved running. So, like, the idea of, like, doing something just because I gotta get to this finish line, like, I got to do it, I got to push through even if I don't want to. And I've had definitely moments like that in my career where I've worked on projects where I don't necessarily agree with everyone that is on that set, or some people have different, have more of an attitude, or like, they might treat me in a way like I'm a pawn on a chessboard, you know what I mean? Like, and so it's like I have to navigate different personalities sometimes, and also remind myself that I am valuable and that I am good at what I do, and that they need me more than they realize. They just, have a loud power or whatever to tell them that I belong to them in a sense. So yeah, I've had a lot of different interesting experiences when it comes to the idea of a marathon and how you have to just kind of continue to push through regardless of your obstacles, regardless of what it might be on that track at some point that's not supposed to be there. You're going to have to work around that and continue to pace yourself to get to that finish line. And that finish line is something I'm continuing to run to, So, yeah.
You just said something else, Celeste, that brought up range runners and also your own peril to your own life, and that is what happens when you fall. And I think, again, you brought up the point of people don't always see, they don't see the nose, they don't see the losses. But one thing we see in range runners, and as you said, alluding to what you've been able to do as a runner, you know that when you stumble, what matters then is a decision. What do you think has helped you with the decision in your life to say that even if something didn't turn out the way you wanted, that you were not going to give up?
Oh, yeah. I mean, really my relationship with God. Like, I think for me, journaling and praying, it reminds me, my connection reminds me that I am, that I'm important, you know what I mean, that I'm of value. And I think that, like, anytime I get stuck into maybe my relationship, my spiritual connection is a little shaky, and I'm caught up into what people say about me. You got reviewers, you got, you know what I mean, whatever these rejections, and maybe somebody said something short to you in a callback, and, like, you don't really want to take on what that person said that just met you for 5 minutes than what you've heard about yourself, throughout your life, and what you even feel about yourself, and know that it's not an accident that you're actually talented. You know what I mean? Like, it's not an accident. It's not, things don't just happen. You don't just continue to book things out of, like, it's a miracle, it's a miracle that this has happened. Like, you actually have the gifts to do it. So that's kind of what I would say for that, for sure.
And I think the great thing is, Celeste, along the way, you've been able to entertain through the different roles you've been able to do, but also you've been able to show other people what's possible. Was that part of your hope, that by your being on this journey, by you kind of being open and honest, like even in conversations like this, that you would inspire others to go for their goals and dreams too?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. My hashtag is actually Be That Light. And I really hold that close to me, because for me, I hope that what I do inspires other people to do the same. And a lot of it is not only just about my work and trying to inspire people to do that kind of work, but it's also about being kind and loving to other people, no matter how high or, like, no matter what's going on in your life, or, like, I'm interested in always staying on the ground. You know what I mean? Like, I want to stay completely grounded and real, regardless of the opportunities and things and what people might know and how people might gas me up or whatever. Like, I know that this has not been an easy journey, and I know that I'm not, that I'm still working through my day-to-day of being a better person every single day. And so I just have to continue to just stay in that journey, that marathon, and hope that people are not just looking at my highlights as, like, oh my gosh, I can't ever do that. I hope they're looking at the highlights as well as knowing that this is a real person that has gone through a multitude of different challenges to get to where I've gotten, you know what I mean? And so, and I try to be very transparent, and when I even have my social media posting stuff that I do, that, like, this wasn't an easy journey, but this thing happened,
Well, look, I know it definitely has benefited others, and we're going to let our audience know how they can stay connected with you, Celeste. But I want to first say, for those who are just tuning in, is on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome actress Celeste M. Cooper to our program. Just make your first appearance on our show this year to talk to us not only about the acting journey, but also the film that's getting ready to come out on September the 8th. It's called Range Runner. So we talked a little bit about it, Celeste. I want to go back. I mean, how did you find out about this particular project?
Oh, wow. So, yeah, my agent, I'm with Panessa Talent Agency, and at PR Casting, Pascal Rudnicki Casting was casting this project in Chicago, And so I got this audition. As soon as I saw the side that I had, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do this. Like it was one side in particular that and I won't say specifically what it is, but it just kind of talked about running, and it talked about a father that, you know, pushed and pushed and pushed you, and I also had that father, and I was a runner. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah I can connect to this pretty easily. And so when I went into PR, like I was playing some music. I also had was watching this video. I had recently met Cyrus Webb and cried a whole bunch of tears, and it makes me happy every time I watch that little video. So I was listening to music that made me happy, and then I also watched this video of me crying and meeting Cyrus Webb for the first time. And then I went to this audition, and I showed them, what I was working with, and then I got this call back where I was the only one called back, and I was so what is, I was like, wow. What is happening? I wasn't even called back to the same casting place. I was called back to one of the warehouse buildings at CineSpace where they, shoot the different TVs and shows and films in Chicago. So I was called to this, warehouse because they needed room for me to run. They wanted to see me run, and they wanted to see me, work out some fight combinations with the stunt coordinator, Aaron Crippen, who's awesome. And so they basically were doing all these. It was a physical callback is what I had. I didn't have to actually do any more lines. They saw what they needed to see from that initial audition. So the second one was just to see if I could physically do what they needed for the film.
Yeah. Well, and I think, again, it goes back to what we were saying earlier, right, about the connections between personal and professional and how they kind of came together. So what was it like for you the first time you saw the poster? I'm curious about this. When you saw the poster and saw yourself there front and center, what was that like?
Yeah, so there's actually, I don't know if you're talking about the newest poster, because there was another poster too prior for the film festivals and stuff, or is it both? Both posters. You talking about both posters? Yeah,
well, this one I think is the newest. I think the newest one is the one that I saw. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so the newest one, my immediate reaction was oh my gosh, I look just like my father. I was wow, because I also, sometimes I'm surprised at the facial expressions that I can make because. Gotcha. That's not what I look like to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of I literally saw someone else, which was kind of creepy, but also cool. So it was really, the artwork and everything is really stunning. I have no recollection of when that picture was even taken of me. I don't even know. I have no idea when that happened. I'm just as surprised as everyone else about everything that's happening right now. But no, I was just kind of oh my gosh, I'm on a poster and I look like my father, and I think people are going to be really interested in this film from the poster alone.
Yeah, I agree. It is really, I went into it, honestly, Celeste, not knowing a lot of what to expect. I had seen the trailer, of course, but actually watching it and seeing the different layers, because I think that's what surprised me. I didn't know there were going to be so many different sub-parts of the story that kind of play themselves out. So, and I won't even get into that, but I think that's what made it really interesting is how you kind of played with these different chapters of what was happening in there. So that brings up then how we're going to see it. Of course, as I mentioned in the beginning, the year has been a different one, but for us people who definitely don't like going to the movies anyway, it definitely makes it a lot easier for us. So September the 8th, it'll be available video on demand. How has social media, new media, how does that kind of help you to stay connected to the world, Celeste, as we've kind of been sheltered in place this year?
I've never been a big fan of social media, but I do it. You know what I mean? I do it because it's the thing you do. But I actually have done quite a bit. I've actually been doing a lot of virtual panels. I produced a virtual panel series, and I just finished up an event, a series that I directed and co-produced that featured a bunch of different actors and writers' work. So I'm kind of I've been actually very busy during this pandemic, to the point that I'm like, I am in a pandemic, right? But yeah, I pretty much I've been busy from home. So yeah, I'm actually I'm maintaining, letting people know, hey, I'm doing this project's happening. And I'm actually really excited because, today is really the first day that I'm going to really start posting a whole bunch more about range runners and all these different articles that I'm seeing that are coming out about it, and the interviews that I am doing this week. And, just going to really just try to promote this film that I think is really powerful and will speak to a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I think you're definitely right on that. I think it will speak, and it reminds us what's possible. I had mentioned to you before we begin the segment, one of the things that I love about this film are the moments of basically having to encourage oneself. I put it that way.
Yeah.
How important has that been for you? Because, as we said, it's not always going to be, every day is not going to be a photo shoot or a red carpet, especially this year. So how do you keep yourself encouraged even in those difficult times?
Yeah. So journaling, praying. I also sometimes will look at or read different things that I wrote, or look at old reviews of things, or think about the different compliments I've received that, and I'm someone that one of my love languages is definitely words of affirmation. So just hearing what my work has meant to someone has meant the world to me. And I'm so grateful to say that there's been so many compliments or just posts about my work, whether it was in regards to range runners, for those that have seen it during film festivals and stuff like that, or other work that I've done to remind me that it's not over. You know what I mean? Even through a pandemic, it's not over. My work is still speaking, because some people, some stuff is available, like Chicago PD for the work that I've done on that show. Some stuff you're still going to be able to see. So, yeah, I just have to always kind of remind myself that it's not over, and that these gifts will not be wasted, and that I can continue, like I'm saying, with these, virtual things that I'm starting, I've been doing, of I can actually create my own during this time and promote and focus the way that I would like, versus necessarily being tied to one or two particular projects at a time. So that's been kind of actually really freeing to me, to really take this time with myself to just kind of recenter and almost renew, what is my real focus and purpose. I think it's always important to go back to what is your purpose and focus, through your life. What is it right now? The pandemic will give you time. You got nothing but time, So that's great.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you. Well, it's great to be able to have this time with you, Celeste. I'm so excited for you and excited for the world to be able to see this film. Again, everyone, Celeste M. Cooper has been our guest. The film is called Range Runners. It's available video on demand on September the 8th, so definitely make plans to be able to see it. And Celeste, you mentioned it earlier on Instagram. You are _B_that_light_. Is that the best place for the people to find you at Be That Light?
Yes, Instagram, Be That Light, and then my IMDb page is, I try to keep that active as well, so, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, Celeste, congratulations to you. Thank you again for the time, and looking forward to our next conversation together.
All right, you too. Thank you so much.
Hey, more than welcome. And I thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. Let's make it amazing. Take care.